Hello, students, welcome back. Today we are going to study a poem that was highly requested. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, written by a contemporary poet named Maya Angelou, who is an Afro American by birth. She has experienced a lot of racism, maltreatment in her early childhood, which had been extremely traumatic as her parents separated and she was forced to live with her grandmother. Because of such a traumatic childhood, she even lost her voice and was mute for a few years. But the fighting and the never ending spirit in her helps her to fight back for freedom against racism and tyranny. So, this is a struggle of a black author. The poem actually talks about two birds. The first, a free bird, and the second one, a caged bird. The caged bird symbolizes the Black American and their fight for freedom. It symbolizes the struggle of being a black author whose words are not heard and of one who wishes for freedom. So, this poem, in a way, can be called as an autobiography of Maya Angelou because if you go through this poem, you will find that she herself is the caged bird. The caged bird is symbolic not only for the poet but also who are undergoing similar kinds of discrimination and sufferings. She wrote this poem to voice out for freedom and break free from her sufferings and pain. She juxtaposes very nicely the image of the two birds, the free bird and the caged one. So, as you know, the free bird symbolizes the white Americans. The free bird is free. It is not restricted. It is free to do anything it wants, go anywhere it wants. There is nobody to restrict it. Whereas the caged bird, who resembles the black American, it is restricted, it is oppressed, ill-treated, and treated as slaves. The rights are taken away. So Maya Angelou is voicing out against this oppression and tyranny as if she is the spokesperson for all the black Americans and people like her who are being suppressed by the whites. Now let's go through the first stanza. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. The poem starts with a positive tone which shows us a feeling of happiness, of joy, of ownership, and of excitement of the free bird. The free bird symbolizes the white people, the white American. They have all the freedom to themselves. That is why they are compared to the free bird who jumps on the back of the wind and is carried downstream to the mouth of the river or sea till the current of the wind comes to an end and it dips its wing in the orange sun rays. So why does the poet mention orange color? Because the color orange symbolizes prosperity. It symbolizes happiness. It's a glowing color. It shows positivity. The free bird has access. It considers the whole sky as its home. That means its freedom is without limit, without any kind of barrier or restriction. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The caged bird is singing in a very nervous manner. Its voice is shaky and trembling. Things unknown means that the caged bird has never experienced freedom. It's locked inside the cage, but it longs for freedom. The tune here refers to the song of the caged bird. The caged bird is singing for freedom, which is being carried by the wind to the people in distant places who also longs for freedom. So people who are suffering in the similar manner are also inspired and motivated by the song. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. The fourth stanza, however, presents a contrast to the second and the third stanzas. The free bird is a bit greedy. It had already enjoyed one joyride. Yet again, it thinks of another breeze, as if the freedom which this free bird is enjoying is not enough. It wants more happiness and a lot more of freedom. He looks forward to enjoy a rich meal of fat worm waiting for him. The words breeze, dawn, bright lawn, sky are all associated with freedom, movement, and energy. The poet mentions the sighing trees. Actually, the trees don't make a noise. It's the wind which blows through the trees makes noise, as if it is sighing, and the free bird wants to get up on the back of this wind and enjoy one more joyride. The bird can hunt his own food. It is not at the mercy of anyone. It's the fat worm who is waiting to be eaten by the free bird, and the free birds fly high in the sky. But the caged bird is standing on the grave of his dreams. It appears as if all his dreams are dead, and being imprisoned, it is standing on it. He knows that his dream would never get fulfilled. His shadows shout on a nightmare dream. When we witness a bad dream, a nightmare, we scream loudly in our sleep. So the shouts of the caged bird are compared to the shouts let out by the people upon witnessing a bad dream. The caged bird is very sad and desperate to move out of the cage, so his shouts are just like the screams of the person suffering from a nightmare. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his mouth to sing. Again, the repetition of the two lines, which we have already studied in the second stanza. The wings are clipped and his feet are tied. So this is the height of tyranny unleashed upon the caged bird, who resembles the black people, the Afro-Americans. So the bird opens his mouth to sing. Though the bird is subject to a lot of cruelty, discrimination, and racism, yet it doesn't lose its hope. It fights for freedom. It sings of freedom. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Again, we can see the repetition of the same lines. The poet implies that even though the caged bird may have never experienced true freedom, deep down that bird knows it was created to be free. Although freedom to the caged bird is fearful because it is unknown, he still sings a fearful trill because he still longs for freedom. So this is a very thought-provoking poem which tells us about the condition of the black people treated as slaves, who suffered under the tyranny of the white Americans, who acted as their masters, and they were subject to limitless cruelty. So these black people were the caged bird about which Maya Angelou talks in the poem. She has voiced their struggle. It was also her struggle. Being a dark-skinned girl, she had suffered a lot. Her childhood had been a very traumatic one, but she did not give up. So children, I hope you have understood this poem. If you have liked my video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.